What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to another Resplendent review. Today I'll be taking a look at Haar and going to be going over the builds that you could run on him, and finally I'll have a special bonus segment. So Haar is a Book 3 Axe Flyer with Tempest Claw as his preferred weapon. So when he came out, he didn't really have a preferred weapon and he was quite unremarkable in the sea of Axe Flyers that we had, and he was also a slower Axe Flyer, so he didn't really have too many options. But upon his weapon refine 2 years ago, he definitely popped off as a free-to-play unit because I believe he was one of the first free-to-play units to have flat damage reduction. So Tempest Claw gave him Iod Shield in exchange of giving him the weakness to Blue Tomes, which is not the biggest deal as you're still going to be able to shrug off any kind of archers with his high defense. And he got a dual phase Brave weapon that inflicts -5 speed on him. So the -5 speed can be a bit annoying if you're trying to run something like Wyvern Rift, but still having the dual phase Brave effect for a free-to-play unit is quite good. And his Refine gives him +5 attack and defense, and also gives him flat damage reduction based on 15% of his defense. So as of making this video, there is no counter to flat damage reduction, so he can get a lot of flat damage reduction by stacking up different skills. And Guard is also something that he gets out of his Weapon Refine, which is not really as valued anymore because we have got a lot of nukes with Null Guard, but the flat damage reduction and the dual phase Brave weapon is definitely the main highlight. And even though he doesn't really have the highest base attack, he can still hit relatively hard because of having a Brave weapon, and he does have defense, so you can get up to like 11 points of flat damage reduction. And now we have got a lot more support like Setet, who can give you flat damage reduction, so all of that could be stacked up to make Haar into a really bulky unit. And he doesn't have the highest resistance, but his flat damage reduction and his high HP can help him tank even some of the mages. And he's the first Book 3 Resplendent unit, so he's quite unique with that aspect. And he's a Grand Tour Battle unit, so anyone can plus and merge him. And his main competition is definitely going to be Ninja Shirshi, because even at +1 merge, she's going to be outperforming a Haar that is like max invested. She takes a lot less Dragon Flowers, but she's a premium unit. And she does have the flat damage reduction just like Haar with a dual phase Brave weapon, but she gets 20% of her defense as the flat damage reduction, and she also gets the true damage, which makes her damage output quite higher compared to Haar. So she's gonna be the main competition if you have her in your barracks. Otherwise, Haar is still gonna be functioning with a lot of the skills that you could give to him. So if you want to give him some of the fodder from Divine Codes, then you can try and run this kind of build. So you could run Bonfire or Ignis, and depending on if you're going to be giving him the special charges support from someone like Young Minerva, you could run a higher cooldown special, but Bonfire can work, and especially if you use him with Emblem Marth. So you could run Guard Bearing and Attack Defense Oath from Brattle Juno that is present in Divine Codes quite early on, and Guard Bearing is going to be giving you the regular damage reduction, which is going to be going well with the flat damage reduction in his weapon. Now, Guard Bearing is not really as good anymore, but still it does give you some sort of damage reduction at the very least to make you bulky. So it could be run, and if you do have the fodder, then you can also run No Quarter as a special, and that way he's going to be having access to damage reduction piercing. And Attack Defense Oath 4 is actually a pretty nice skill for him because he wants to have more defense for the flat damage reduction, and any kind of extra attack is good as he has got a dual phase Brave weapon. And the Orders buff is also good for the mobility. Attack Defense Catch could be run in this lottie, but you could also run Attack Defense Clash if you have access to it, and that way he can get the attack and defense debuff neutralization. And even though he doesn't really have the highest resistance, just encounter melee is still one of the best Sacred Seals that you could run on him, because he can take on a lot of the ranged threats because of his damage reduction. And you could also use him as a melee tank, but at that point, you could just run him with Attack Defense Clash as the Sacred Seal. And if you're going to be spending any kind of trade fruits on him, then plus defense is going to be helping you get more flat damage reduction, so definitely pick that. And if you're going to be ascending an asset, then you could pick attack because he does have the Brave attack. And ultimately, I think that Gambit is one of the better skills for him, even though Gambit is not as good anymore. The same reason as Guard Bearing, we just have a lot of damage reduction piercing, but Gambit, despite its flaws, is still going to be giving you 15 true damage, which is amazing value for a dual phase Brave weapon. And you also get 50% damage reduction consistently, so that does help you against the foes that don't really have any kind of damage reduction piercing, which is going to be a rare case nowadays, but still the true damage is going to be paying off by running a 5 cooldown special like Ether or Miracle. Of course, the drawback is that you're not able to get the damage reduction piercing by running something like No Quarter, but still, I think that Haar is one of the few units that we have in the game that still want to run Gambit over something like Guard Bearing, and Soaring Guidance could be the slot C of choice to enable the warping of your allies. And if you want to take this build further, then you could try and run Odd Defense Wave 4 in the slot C, and this way you're going to be able to charge up your Ether a lot more easily because of the tempo effect out of this. And Haar does have high enough defense to get the full tempo effect out of the wave skill, and you can also run Soaring Echo as the attune skill for still providing the warping support to your allies. And Tag Defense Unity is also a slotty option that you could run if you're going to be taking advantage of the debuffs, and this can definitely be useful as we have got a lot of debuffs going on right now, and he does have guard in his weapon, so the tempo effect is going to be having good synergy with it, and the enemies are not going to be charging their specials unless they have null guard themselves. And you can also run Attack Defense XL in the slot A so that you can get some flat damage reduction in the player phase, and in the enemy phase you're going to be having that flat damage reduction against the enemy specials. And Wyvern Rift could be a slot B that you could run, but I just want to give a disclaimer that you should only be running Wyvern Rift if you're able to give him a lot of support and actually retaliate back with No Quarter. So Wyvern Rift does need a bit of speed to work, but still Haar does have high enough defense to make use of this and get the flat damage reduction and the true damage. So that is going to be better than the pierceable damage reduction of Gambit or Guard Bearing. And if you really want to run No Quarter, then Wyvern Rift can be an option. Even though he's not the fastest, he's still going to be able to get a decent mileage out of this if you're going to be supporting him well. And Odd Defense Wave with its tempo effect is going to be giving you a lot of value, especially on this build where you have got No Quarter as a low cooldown special, and Emblem Mart does make it a 2 cooldown special. So you're going to be able to easily retaliate back with this, and you're stacking up a lot of flat damage reduction with the Excel skill and Wyvern Rift. So this is a really high investment build that you could try and run, and there are a couple of unreleased skills that you could also make use of. So Attack Defense Near Trace is going to be giving you the true damage, which again is amazing with his Ray weapon, and Attack Defense Rain Snap can give you the extra movement, so that does synergize pretty well with the Excel skill. And you can even run him with Attack Defense Mastery in the future when that comes out, because that is going to be giving you Canto 2. And if you're trying to run Wyvern Rift as the slot B skill and still get some kind of Canto, then that could be an option, but I'm not sure how soon we're going to be getting that compared to these skills. Haar got a weapon refine not that long ago, but still I think there can be a few updates that I could try and do if I had to improve his weapon. So I would still keep the dual phase Brave weapon and give him the IO shield, but I would give him another round of +5 to his attack and defense, which is going to be helping him quite a lot with a Brave weapon. And I would also give him dull attack defense, which does help because flyers are not going to be having easy access to it. So he's going to be ignoring any kind of visible buff of enemies attack and defense. And I would still keep the weapon refine and just add the special cooldown +1 per attack. So this is one of the things which Haar wants through his supports, and just having this in this weapon refine would make him so much more better. And it is going to be really fun with his dual phase Brave weapon, just triggering the specials left, right, and center with the tempo effect that he can get out of Odd Defense Wave 4. So not a lot of changes, but this is going to be significant enough to improve him. So let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as archers against Haar. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.